hundreds of conservation causes, which is something that's a great source of pride for the company. Now,
I would say,
historically, as you mentioned, where we've been able to have a lot of impact is through funding, right? Through writing the check.
mm-hmm.
Now, recently, that's shifted more toward, I guess you'd call it advocacy, but I don't really look at it. Well, it is advocacy, but at the end of the day, I think we benefit from, we have this longstanding trust that we've built with a big customer base. And so what's exciting is that they look at us as a trusted source, as a trusted voice. And so we can really engage with them in kind of a personal relationship, and really engage on these efforts that we think are most important. And to your point, it feels like in today's world, it's really important to customers. They want to know what you believe in, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you have that relationship of trust and the customers want to know what you believe in, then all of a sudden you can start doing a lot more beyond just the dollars you donate, right? And I'll give you you mentioned Bristol Bay up in Alaska. That's just a great example recently of where we've been able to do that, because we've supported it financially. We've invested in the storytelling, in our catalogs, in our homepages, in social media. We've published an impact report on our website. And then in addition to that, I was lucky enough to get to travel to Washington, D.C. twice in the last 6 months to attend hearings on Capitol Hill, to visit with members from the House and the Senate who are a part of the Sportsman's Caucus, to really show up and have conversations with these groups that, again, look to us as a trusted source where we can bring our expertise, what we're hearing from customers. We can bring our partners' opinions and views, and really kind of help them do their job as far as showing up for the public in the ways that they want to.
Oh, interesting. You've been doing some wonderful things. Let me ask you something else. As an enthusiast company that provides lessons and gives back to the outdoors, Orvis is really a very different kind of retailer. However, retail will no doubt change, particularly in our post-corona world. How do you see the future of your stores versus some of the online business? Because, as I've said, the stores feel very much, learning centers more so than anything else.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, the way we look at brick and mortar, the way we look at our retail stores is it's really an opportunity to differentiate ourselves as a company and really focus on what we feel are our competitive advantages, stuff we are really good at, stuff the customer tells us is important to them. And in addition to great product, at Orvis, it's really about these special relationships with the customers and the experiences that we can help create and facilitate for them. And so in person, in retail, it is just such a valuable way to differentiate ourselves in these retail stores. Whether it's through building relationships with our customers. We have customers who come into our stores after getting back from a trip, and they will grab the manager or the fishing manager and talk for 45 minutes, showing them all the pictures from their trip. And those are the type of relationships we have, which are really special. Our stores are also a place for storytelling, for events, for experiences. And then the other place we really use them for is education. We have our free Fly Fishing 101 classes, our FF 101 classes, where each year we introduce over 15,000 people to the sport of fly fishing through these free classes. We have travel recommendations through adventures. We have local fishing conditions that we publish. We have dog training events at the stores. And so that education is also a place where people can use us as a resource in person, which is very special. And their customers are telling us that connection is important, and we are finding ways to do it digitally, but that in-person connection, because the relationship is so core to how we do business with our customers, that's kind of always going to have a place. And as we're starting to reopen our retail stores, we're doing it, we're prioritizing safety, and we are seeing ways in which our customers telling us that connection is really important to us, and they're showing up in some really inspiring ways.
Well, that's wonderful, because I was curious. I'm sure that after sheltering at home, everyone's going to want to enjoy the outdoors. And I was curious as to how Orvis was responding to, I don't know if I should say post-corona world, because it may still be with us for a while, but at least responding to the pandemic.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of changing by the week, so it's a little bit of a moving target. But one thing we've heard from the very, very beginning, which is interesting, is that the outdoors, water, all of this is really important to the customer. Connecting with the outdoors, spending time, and that, even though it was challenged and things had to change, especially early on in COVID, that never went away. And customers were finding ways to tell us that. And so it really gave us a chance to lean into the core of our brand purpose and who we are. We had to learn how to do it in different ways. But the customer was asking for it more and more. And we saw that through our sales in specific areas, like in our fly fishing gear and equipment. We also saw it in the way that through marketing, we really shifted our focus toward engagement, and really hitting on stories and education and how-to and advocacy and everything. Our Facebook Live events with our ambassadors or people on our teams, all of a sudden that engagement was through the roof. We're developing this virtual casting instruction to take the place of in-person. It will never take the place, but during this time, people are really, really craving it, and it's exciting. All of our content online through our social channels, people really leaned into heavily in those first couple weeks, and now we're figuring out, okay, the way we're viewing it is, until we have a vaccine, COVID's going to have some sort of presence, so we need to really lean into how we do things differently. And I mentioned virtual casting instruction. We have lessons where people can do it through their iPads, which are great. We're developing a summer camp for kids through our blog, because a lot of them aren't going to have these summer camps to go to, and their parents might be pulling their hair out, and we can be there for them in really intentional and great and meaningful ways. And so it's exciting, because what we're seeing acceleration in some cases as far as engagement with content and with education and all these things that we've been doing for so many years. And then we've also seen evolution in finding new ways to maintain these strong connections, because again, it's clear that the customer is going to find us and they want to keep engaging with us. And so we just need to find new ways to be able to do that.
That's very interesting. You mentioned purpose in that conversation or in that answer, and I'm wondering if that's caused your notions of purpose to change in any way or intensify. It sounds like when you said you dug pretty deep, you figured out another way digitally to make sure those relationships were strong, which is very much about your purpose.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, right? And honestly, just looking at it, what it looks like is there are these eternal truths that we call them eternal truths that exist for the brand and exist for our relationship with our customer. And they've actually been there for 160 years. Now they're going to look different. They're going to sound different. They're going to taste different. The changes are going to happen, but all it is just finding new ways to help the customer engage with these eternal truths. And these eternal truths have to do with sharing stories, providing great product, have to do with engaging with content or with advocacy or for reasons that are really important. And again, it's just all it is. It's kind of the next chapter where we just find new ways to do it. That demand isn't going away. That need for the customer isn't going away. That value we can create for them isn't changing. But just like we're not sure what's going to be happening 10 years from now, we're always finding new ways to do it and always trying to evolve. So not only can we stay relevant, but we can just continue to play this role in customers' lives that they have told us is really important for them.
No, well said. And it sounds like when you get purpose right, some aspects are eternal and then others just evolve in response to the time or even the technology. Well, let me give you one last question, and it's a big one. What is your vision for the future of Orvis?
The vision for the future of Orvis is... Yeah, I would say my vision for the future of Orvis is for the company to really take a leadership position in the world of purpose-led.
Say it again. A leadership position
in the world of being purpose-led, of purpose-led companies. Mm-hmm. And it feels like we're in the middle of a moment. There's some stuff happening right now on a macro level where purpose-led companies are going to be given the opportunity to move to the front because of what customers are asking for them. And I really think, again, we have this platform that we've built for 160 years as a company that we can really leverage right now in a truly meaningful way. And I think we have the opportunity as a company to be a case study in creating value in purpose-led ways, creating value for customers, creating value for partners, creating value for our employees, and creating value for the natural world. When I talk about creating value, really it comes back to what I said earlier, which is, when you take purpose and you add passion to it. We've had passion for 160 years. We've been a purpose-led company for 160 years. When you take those two things that are done in really authentic ways, and then you apply them to a need that exists in the world, and listening to our customers and our customers telling us what the need is, then all of a sudden you can create value for your customer, if that makes sense.
It makes tremendous sense. It makes tremendous sense. I'm very impressed. Yes.
And so, what's interesting, the other question I get asked a lot is, okay, when you talk about creating value for those three groups, customers, employees, the natural world, what does that really mean? I could take an hour to answer this question, but just in its simplest form, when you talk about customers, the way we've looked at it and the way the customers has expressed to us that is value that we can fulfill for them is when we make great products and we tell meaningful and inspiring stories that potentially can change people's lives, you have an opportunity to provide great value for them. And we've experienced that, and we get incredible letters from customers all the time that give us amazing examples of that. When we talk about creating value for employees, we talked about these core values before, and when you can rely on those core values as a foundation to build a culture that can make employees' lives better, that can make their place of work more meaningful, that can make their place of work more purposeful for them, you're creating value for employees, right? And so how do we continue to build off of those core values and continue to build and evolve our culture in meaningful ways for in today's world? And then the natural world, I touched on it before, but it's really about being this trusted voice for customers and for the industry and for partners, and engaging and trying to engage as many people to participate to protect this thing that plays such an important role in all of our lives.
No, that's extraordinary. And I think that is also a mission that a lot of companies are trying to achieve. Perhaps not all of them have the kind of brands or products that will make it as clear as what you've been able to do over 160 years. But I do think that touching those three areas, customers, employees, and the world, is what the new ethos is about. So, congratulations on thinking about that. I really wish we had hours more to talk. Sadly, we don't, but I do hope you'll come back to the show and talk to us a little bit more about how things are evolving and any new and exciting programs, and if those kids camps really did a lot of good too. So
yeah. No, I'd love to return and like everybody else, we are learning stuff by the day in today's world. It is an incredible education, and And it's such a great time for us to pause, reflect, really break down what we believe in, what we